Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Pettam and today I'm joined by Rob Van Egmond, VP Exploration at Dolly Varden Silver. Rob, it's great to be chatting with you today.
Thanks, James. It's good to be here. I appreciate being on CEO.CA.
So, can we kick things off with a bit of backstory about Dolly Varden Silver? Can you tell us some of the key facts about the company and the deposit that you're exploring at the moment?
Sure, yeah. Well, Dolly Varden has, a 100-year history. It was discovered back in 1909, the Dolly Varden vein. But since then, there's been a lot of exploration. And since we've come on, we've done a lot of growth through acquisition and organically through exploration and the drill bit. But we've created, a property now that is of scale and in a safe jurisdiction. So we're giving exposure to both silver and gold now with our acquisitions, and we continue to grow with exploration. And we're getting ready to start our 2024 season to keep moving on that path.
Yeah, well, certainly an exciting time to be exploring for gold and silver. This 2024 program, you have 25,000 meters of diamond drilling planned. Can you tell us how that program is going to be rolled out?
Yeah, well, we have an early start this year, so the snow pack was much lower in the Golden Triangle. So we're actually mobilizing this week. We will start with 3 drills, 25,000 meters we have planned for our initial program. Remember last year we drilled over 50,000 meters with up to 5 drills. So we're getting a start on following up on a lot of our successes and new discoveries last year. We'll be dividing the program up between the Dolly Varden property and the Homestake property, which are all the same valley, but we'll be doing about half in the Homestake area and half on the Dolly Varden property. And of that, about a third of the total will be towards Wolf. So last year we had some step outs where we were getting, as we go deeper on the Wolf vein, we start to see wider intercepts. So we'll be following up on those and building up around those intercepts so that we can start including some of those ounces in our upcoming resource update. And then another third will be at Homestake Silver. Again, we had a new discovery at the northern end of Homestake Silver that we'll talk about a little bit, as well as defining that resource and upgrading it and just improving the quality of it. And then the last third will be dedicated toward exploration. And we like to keep it that way, where we have a mix of near resource drilling as well as that exploration drilling, which has the potential to add a new deposit, because that's what we're searching for in this valley, another Torbert style deposit, which is our main silver deposit on the property.
Great, thank you for that overview of the program, and interesting to hear that you're pursuing this kind of diversified approach to both adding ounces and exploration and near production drilling as well. Can you walk us through what is the reasoning behind this approach? How does this strategy of exploring both the Homestake deposit and the Dolly Varden deposit, how did that pan out?
Well, we have our plan is to increase the size of the deposits or the resources, let's say. So we like to do a lot of expansion drilling on the known resources, and we do that by concentrating on areas that have inferred resources and drilling within zones that we've defined from geological and structural work in the past few years, where we've defined plunges of mineralization where there's kinks in the system and it gets wider and higher grades, so there's more pulses of mineralization coming through. So by focusing in on those and expanding on those, we're working within the resource, but we're growing ounces by adding thicker and higher grade intercepts. And then at the same time, we like to keep stepping out, so that just grows the size, the footprint. And like I say, the exploration has the potential for a new discovery, which could open things up. So we have a major partner in Hecla, and we work closely with them. They're on our technical committee. they're a 15% owner of Dolly Varden right now, and we listen to them in terms of what they would like to see too, and the messaging we get is, let's see how big this thing is, because the potential is still there. We have a very large land package in a tier 1 district. There's many deposits hosted in the same rocks that we're drilling in the main part of the Golden Triangle, and the age of our mineralization is the same as those major deposits and mines, such as Eskay Creek, Brucejack, and we've recently consolidated a package to the east where we have porphyry, gold, copper porphyry, similar age to KSM. So that's why we like to keep it more on the expansion side and de-risking as well, to improve the quality of the assets.
And could you tell us a little more about some of the targets you mentioned? You mentioned a wolf vein that you're going to be doing some further drilling on, and I know there's also the moose vein, which is a high priority target. How do these different areas of exploration and adding ounces compare to each other? Are they part of the same system? Is any one of them a main priority for this year? Can you give us a little more context on those?
Yeah, sure. The consolidation that happened last year in early 2023 really was between two properties, and what was always kind of seen as two different systems. But now that we have it together and we can work on this whole system as one holistic unit, we see now that it is all part of one mineralizing system, and that is why Hecla is so interested in the area too. It's not just individual deposits, but it's this whole belt of the southern end of the Golden Triangle, sort of a sub-basin of the main Golden Triangle. So now that we have it together, we've been working on Torbrit, which is our hosts most of our silver ounces the past few years, and then we've made new discoveries at Wolf, which is a vein that cross-cuts the valley, and we have a sedimentary layer in the bottom of the valley that it sort of sits in a bowl, and it's covering the mineralization as it goes towards the center of the valley. So Wolf was discovered in the 20s, but with the remodeling that we've done, we've followed it down underneath this sedimentary cap where there's no surface expression, and we've basically expanded it over 3 times. And like I mentioned before, as we go deeper towards the center of the valley, things are getting wider, and that all projects north to Homestake Ridge, where there's silver at the southern end of those deposits. So in terms of where we're concentrating, Wolf is now a new sort of concentration on the silver side of things. Homestake, when we acquired that, we went straight into Homestake Main, where the majority of the gold ounces are hosted, and we de-risked that, and now we're concentrating on silver. But there's still, in the exploration phase, there's still a 5-kilometer stretch between Homestake Silver and Wolf that sits underneath that sedimentary cap. And the Moose vein is the next sort of exposure up the valley from Wolf. It sits about 1.5 kilometers north of Wolf on a similar oriented structure, and it also disappears down underneath that sedimentary cap. So last year we had one hole in that got 712 grams per ton over about 1 meter in a wider intercept of, I think, 7 meters of 260 grams. So the mineralization's there in terms of that silver style of mineralization, and this year we're going to be following that underneath. So we've put that as a priority on our exploration side of things to see if it pans out the same as we're using the same structural interpretation to guide our drilling down underneath that sedimentary cap.
Thank you for that summary, and interested to see how all these kind of different pieces of the exploration program fit together. Besides the drilling program, what else is planned? Are there any other milestones this year for Dolly Varden that we should be looking out for?
We are advancing our metallurgical studies as well. So all of this drilling up until now, since our last resource estimate, we've done over 100,000 meters of drilling. So we're, part of that is upgrading the quality of the assets. So if there's a potential purchase, it gives more of a premium. So our goal is to de-risk, and not just in terms of knowing the mineralization there, but we're also advancing studies in access, possible hub and spoke scenarios with outside properties. For example, we're 20 kilometers from Tidewater, looking at bringing material down to Tidewater and setting up a hub and spoke type mill operation at Kitsault, which is a permitted mine site on Tidewater. And then also, we're continuing our wildlife studies, our environmental monitoring, all working towards de-risking the asset and improving the quality of it.
Rob, thank you so much for that overview and the summary of this year's drill program. Sounds like there's a lot of exciting plans ahead for Dolly Varden. Just to wrap up, could you give us a quick summary? Is there anything else that maybe we haven't touched on today? Any reasons why investors should be paying attention to the Dolly Varden Silver story?
Yeah, sure, James. Well, besides giving exposure to gold and silver in a safe jurisdiction, where we have certainty that we can get our work done, we can get our permits. It's a part of a bigger story. It's the reawakening of the Golden Triangle, because a lot of the discoveries in the Golden Triangle were made over 100 years ago, and companies like Skeena, they're reawakening the Eskay Creek mine, and we're doing a similar thing at Dolly Varden. We're reawakening an old mining district and getting the story out there, and it's getting the attention of majors. There's been over $5 billion in M&A activity in the Golden Triangle. There's companies from all over the world have their eyes on the Golden Triangle and wanting to get a piece of the action, because it is a Tier 1 district, and I think Dolly Varden is well positioned.
Very well. Rob, really interesting to hear about Dolly Varden and big plans for the year. Thanks so much for joining us today.
All right. Thank you, Dean.